All right, so let's talk about this story. This story is very, very sad. Condolences to the family. But I'm just gonna read, and then I have some reminders for you all, and then I might just call it a day today. Okay. Then I'm gonna play Natu's update earlier because I heard her give an update on Antibishop. I'm gonna play that as well. Because I was actually trying to see if we can find some update, but this story was covered heavily in Orlando, Florida's news. Okay, so this is not breaking news, or we're not breaking any news. It's just we're covering what's out there. But we're going to talk about the lessons that both men and women should learn from this, from my personal opinion. All right. Dark night in Orlando. Husband's unthinkable act leaves a life shattered. Man and his wife in Orlando, deputies said a man deleted his wife Saturday evening in an Orlando suburb, according to the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Deputies said they responded to the 6600 block of Taxiway Circle around 7 p.m. in response to a deletion. When they arrived, they found a woman in her 40s who had been deleted, according to the sheriff's office. The woman, Nanchin Azan Adeyemo, was taken to the hospital where she later passed away from her injuries, deputies said. The suspect, Azan Teddy Adeyemo, remained at the home and was charged with first-degree murder. According to deputies, investigators say this shooting is domestic in nature, as the suspect and victim were married. The sheriff's office says there are no additional details available for release at this time. Now, there's so much going on there, but the first thing that comes to mind whenever we have this kind of crazy story to cover, the first thing that comes to mind for me is anger. Maybe the second thing that comes to mind for me is mental health. Okay, there's a lot of sick people walking around like normal people. There are a lot of normal people, or seemingly normal people. We don't know what somebody is walking around with in terms of what they're going through in their personal lives, men or women. You just don't know. Okay. But with that being said, we can't judge the person that's passed away. Then this person that's being charged right now, we don't have a choice but just to wait. We have to wait because based on the law of the land, is innocent until proven guilty, right? But we can extract some lessons. Okay? We can extract some lessons. Marriage is not a do or die. Okay? The first time I heard that saying, I felt a pushback as well, because if I thought marriage wasn't a do or die, I wouldn't engage marriage. Okay? Based off of my mindset and where I'm coming from. Like, marriage is Nollywood, Hollywood, happily ever after. The last thing I want anybody to be talking about is it's not a do or die. That makes me want to say, kilo me, are you planning something? Are you planning to exit? Are you planning to pull the rug from under my children? Tell me more, right? But up to that point is because I haven't seen crazy news like this, okay? There's a lot of crazy news like this, but I want you to be aware that a lot of crazy news does not mean it's majority of the issues. Majority of the stories out there, does not mean it's majority of what people go through. I just want you to be aware of that. Okay, let's start with that first, because I understand, especially if you can relate, if you've seen something close to this, your mind will probably go like, okay, let me protect myself. And there's nothing wrong with you. You should protect yourself, especially if you can relate, right? But that doesn't all the way protect you, because you might just be, there's a higher chance you will never go through this. There's a higher chance you're going to find yourself in a relationship that you won't see DV. How do I know there's a higher chance? Because if it was the opposite, it would be a war zone out there. Everybody will be fighting, right? So I know for a fact that there's a higher chance you will never have to deal with this. But there is a chance you might have to deal with this. God forbid. My prayer is that you won't have to deal with that, right? But the way we paint these stories oftentimes is that an average person will have to deal with this, and that's just too far from the truth. But I want to say this. It's very important that I say this. For every single one of these cases is one too many. We can't afford any single one of these stories, for obvious reasons. Number one, because this is an innocent person that just passed away, that just got deleted, right? There are children involved, probably. There's a whole family involved. There's also extended families involved. So for that obvious reasons, we can't afford any of this, right? Another reason why we can't afford is because each one of these stories has the magnitude of 10,000 successful stories out there in terms of influence, right? Just think about, I just threw a number at it, right? Just think about fear and faith. Which one is easier to engage? Fear, because we all want to protect ourselves. Okay? So it's one too many. It's one too many. We can't afford this kind of story. I don't care if it's half of it, of the story, that will get everyone every year. We don't want this story. We don't want this kind of crazy story. But there's a couple of things that you can do on your part, right? On your part. There's some things you don't have any control of, but there's some things that you have control of. And we can also talk about that today. Okay? So this is absolutely a tragic story when I saw it. And Tobi was sharing with me last night. And I was like, I usually try to shy away from this kind of story, but there's some lessons that we should engage. Okay? Now I'm going to play the update that Natu gave and Tobi earlier. Right? Let's see. There you go. I'm going to play this. And then we'll talk more about it.
Live. What are you going to tell them? Okay, Natu, let's hear.
TV, so this person literally was calling me while we were talking.
Patrick.
He watches your show too, and he knows her very well. Like when I mean no. So he said that they came from Nigeria. So you know the reason for the lady marrying the guy was like, you know, all this family pressure, get married, and she's one doing good. So they got married. They came here. I think they came here with the older kids, and they married different people to get their papers. So now, yes. So now they all have, I think, like divorce those other people to get back together. And he said the lady, when he means, can you hear me?
I missed something there.
So I think they all now have their papers, and I think they're in the process of like divorcing the other people to get back together. But the guy is not too happy because the guy said she's doing amazingly well with the hair braiding. He said the minimum she takes is $600.
Right.
He says Orlando to Daytona, like she's the OG of braiding, and yes, she's from Plateau State, like he said. So the guy that called me, we grew up together in Kaduna, so he knows her like family. So because we all speak outside, when we come here, we all act like family. Right. So he said that the lady, she even bought 2 Teslas. So he said she bought 2 Teslas. The guy is doing Uber. She paid down payment for his GMC to be doing Uber. This guy does not appreciate her, but every time he's on, he just complain. He's just complaining. And they say he pied her on his birthday. Hey. And before, yes, it was on his birthday that he pied her.
That's crazy.
On his birthday?
Yes. So I think their own is coupled with like jealousy, like he's envying her because she's doing amazingly well. And the other guy said that she's a very nice person. She's very amazing. She's very helpful. She's a very sweet soul. So Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
person that made a comment there and said that she's definitely doing better financially, and the person that said that, is relating to finance, they
He
are
says
not
she's
wrong.
paying all the bills. She's paying all the bills. She's basically footing all the bills. Like the guy doesn't do shit. He's supposed to be new, but you're always coming back home complaining. You have a new car, you can't do anything with it. You're always coming to complain.
Mashu.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a pity.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Chai.
honestly speaking, when it comes to all the women all doing all these extra things to keep the family together, sometimes it's not even worth it. Because it's very I've not I don't know if I've seen any situation where women that did all of these things ended well. Do you understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's very rare. So like what's the essence of doing it? Now family pressure, you've gone to marry because this is the person that you like and you not doing where you want to support him. This marrying down, it gets a B. Go away, plus. Like, but that was what the person just said. Yeah. So yeah, so that's
On
why even
his
if they're talking
birthday.
about it, they'll say his ex-wife because they don't want it to complicate other stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So they don't say his wife. Yeah, but on American standard, they're not married as couple.
I
But back
see.
home, like yeah.
Yeah. They are married just,
Mm-hmm.
I had to
Mm-hmm.
do other things. You see,
Right.
these are some of the issues coming abroad. These are some of the things that people have to go through just to get the issues there. Obodo you go. May God help
Yeah.
us. Thank you
Yeah.
so
He
much.
said they bought houses. They bought two houses. Supposed to start doing Airbnb with one or something like that. But he said the guy at some point started saying that there is no God, and he keeps arguing with them. So that explains what he did. You understand what I'm saying? Because
He
one of my
said there
friends said
is no
sometimes when
God.
he yes, the husband will say there's no God. He say if there's God, why are people suffering? Now my friend said anytime you post anything about NSPPD, he'll say people continue deceiving yourself. That his wife is just wasting money, giving money to church, that she's doing tithes, she's doing offering, she's sowing seed. So you can see all the compilation of everything is coming from.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Seems like the issues are deeper than what we know. Of course, we don't know much
Yeah.
about it, but thanks for
Yeah.
that, Natsu.
No Allah, mama.
All right, my darling. I appreciate
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Have a good afternoon.
All right, shout out to Aunt B for that clip. Not too, brother Patrick. Hello, sir.
Hey, hola.
Hello,
How are you
madam.
doing?
I
Yeah,
do. How are you, sir?
fine. Thank you for having me. I was supposed to say one thing or the other,
On Aunt B's platform.
but I was busy driving. I didn't want to mess up
I
everything.
see. I see.
Yes, thank God for Natu's background story that he gave us. And I listened to what you just said all about anger,
Yeah.
uncontrollable anger and mental health. But I
Yeah.
want to say something to all our women. I'm going to use our opportunity to say that in Auntie B's platform. I will say that too. Our women, do not marry a lazy man. Ola, there is nothing you will do for a lazy man that this man will appreciate. You can't do that in a marriage. Especially this Obodoyinbo. We are in a capitalist country. This man might even pay you when you have insurance to inherit your property. And there's nothing you will do for this man that this man will appreciate. He will always be looking up to you for you to lift him up. Meanwhile, he has everything to become a man. And you can even you might think you are doing a favor when your kids are little. What about when they grow up and they want to go to college and you have more expenses to do? So it's no go area. How this place, I'm going to quickly give you a story, short story. I was doing a job one time in a factory. We call it co-pay then. You remember, you know what I mean by co-pay? Let me go and do yes. So I met a
That
lady.
money should be complete.
Yes, I met a lady there, an elderly lady just like my miss. So I was doing nights, and she came to me. She's from Congo. Hola. He said, please, Patrick, can you help me? I cannot drive during snow. Cannot drive. She said it's one of her daughter in high school that used to come and drop her to go. And I said, okay, I will let my wife know. So when I got home, I told my wife, she said, okay, I should help her. So I asked her, where's your address? The next day, she told me. So I went to a place. You know, we are supposed to start at 11. I'll go there before 11, maybe 10:30. I'll pick her up. I'll drop her. I did that for 3 months during the snow. Every snow. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you, sir.
So, you know what, this lady? She was very happy. She now told me her background. She's from Congo. She said it was during the war that they have to move down here. They stayed in camp. She said she just had a baby. She just had twins. And she was in the hospital and they have to move with the other little babies. He said she had a big supermarket and everything was raised down. She said she was carrying the lady, the twins with blood in her body. And you know, she was telling me she had a big shop, big supermarket. That's what she was doing in Congo before this thing happened. He said as soon as they got to the rebels, and they said they got there with those people who were with guns, you know. They said, okay, they know the husband was a pastor. He said as soon as they left, they cleared everybody. They were behind them. Ola, these 2 kids, twins, they are now in high school, about to graduate. It's one of them that used to come and drop her. That's not where I'm going to, Ola. So I lost touch with her.
Okay.
So one day, my daughter just called me. He said, Daddy, there's a big store here, an African store. The biggest ever. When I say we are the biggest. So she did a video for me. She had a video call and was showing me the half pound, the yam, everything, anything you want to buy, Daddy. I said, no, I didn't plan to buy something. She said, we are good. So one day it snowed, Ola. My wife now said she wanted to eat okra. I said, okay, let me go. Let me even go to this African store. Ola, as soon as I entered the store, you know, I was wearing my jacket. I just heard somebody, this is the man. Ola, I was scared. This is the man. I thought I did something wrong. You know who owned the store? That woman. The biggest African store in my city. The man said, Patrick. I said, what? He was telling his worker. He said, this is the man I'm talking about. This is the man. I said, oh my God. I said, Mama, I said, this is my son, Patrick. He said, anything I want, I should take it. I said, no. He said, no, Patrick, please. I bought the okra. The woman just packed juice and everything. What am I bringing out from there, Ola?
Right.
The Bible says, God is no respecter of person. This is a woman that doesn't speak English, Ola.
But that's just English.
I went home and repented. Said, God, help me. You know what I mean? When I'm talking about the biggest store, the woman that came from Africa, that couldn't speak English, and was working in Fadi, now become the owner of the biggest store in my city, African store. So this woman, the wife and the husband, they combined together and started this. The Bible says we should not despise our little beginning. So if you are harboring a lazy man, you think you love him, you are buying this, you are just doing yourself. Right. You are just.
So Esa, so if a woman is already in that kind of situation, they're married now, right? What would be your suggestion for a woman who's listening, who feels like, that's my story, I am married to a lazy man? What would be your suggestion for that type of person?
The Bible says, can leopard change his skin? Yes. There is a saying, Allah, you are Yoruba, they said, Owoko Beru Dori. Yes. This man, when I was growing up, Allah, my father works as a civil servant. But by 5 o'clock, you can't see my dad at home. He's gone to work. And you know, no, in America, there's dignity in labor. You can't have a man to just sit down and be flipping this thing, the remote. The man as Uber is not driving, is complaining. What does he want to do? He has to be a man. And this man, men are role model to their children. Yes, Allah, you are. This one is your side. Also, you have other things you are doing. Your wife is
by the grace of God.
Everybody. So, Allah, as a man, I don't know how you are going to, because what you cannot finish, don't start it.
Yes.
Yes. Don't start it. So I don't even know how you are going to.
No, I will talk about my lessons, but hang out, sir. Let me hear
Yes.
Natu.
Go ahead.
Present, sir.
Natu, my G. How now?
This one is deep. When I was on a TV show, that guy that called me to give me the update, we grew up together. Our parents are like best friends. He stays in Florida. All of us are from the north. So he was one telling that when he met the lady here and she found out that he went to school in her state, they became, you know how we do when we come to America now?
Right
When you
now.
meet somebody from your own
You
side,
connect
you
with
just
other
become
people.
family. Exactly. Especially people that are from the north, it's not a lot of us out here. So whenever we meet ourselves, we are excited, we just become family automatically.
Yeah.
So he said she treats him like family. But he said there has been like little complaints about like the husband, he's not like too supporting like that, he's not emotionally available, and like everything lays heavily on her. But there's something that he told me that I was happy about. Her mom is still alive, by the way.
The lady's
Uh,
mom?
yes, he said they haven't told her mom. Yeah, I don't know if by now they told her, but they said she built a very big house for her parents. And her sisters too are married. She has supported them, helped them like secure a house for themselves. And then the parents' house that she built, she was teasing them that if the marriage didn't work, people should come back home. Can you believe that? And then
So people were kind of aware that they've been having issues.
yes, but she's not like really vocal about it.
Right.
I'm just saying that the house that she built, she was telling her own sisters that if their own marriage no work, make them come back. Not knowing that, you understand what I'm saying? And he says she supports a lot of orphans and widows back home. When I mean a lot. He says she has kids in secondary school, she's supporting nursery school, university, like widows. Yeah, she does all this like outreach for them. So I really don't know, man.
And this guy, it sounds like he was not involved at all in any of that.
No, he wasn't. His daughter, they said his daughter said she doesn't want to have anything to do with him. That's how much.
You said his daughter doesn't want to have anything to do with him?
Yeah, the first daughter, yes. Because his first daughter is married. Her first daughter is married. She's like around 22, I think, from what my friend said. So
and they're here as well.
all of them are here. All of them are here.
Gotcha.
She's doing well. She has houses. Like he says, she was telling him, she says in a day, if she doesn't make anything from her salon, she makes $4,000 in a day. Because she braids hair, her daughters braids hair. Like her daughters, she set them up already. Her daughters are like, they can handle that store. Why she's not even there right now? So he said that her daughters are very good with their hair, like their mom. And her hair braiding, like she charges at least one person, she charges at least $600. And her customers still come back to her.
Right. I mean, this is Orlando, Florida too, so
right.
That market is probably hot out there like that.
Yes.
The guy is a failure, Allah.
He is a failure, honestly speaking.
That's the obvious at this point.
Man, this whole shit it's so. I don't know how much we can do to help ourselves, women, but honestly speaking, like who was saying on today's show today, like there are some things that you see that, like I said earlier, plan an exit. Just have an exit in plan, honestly speaking. Because if you're married to a lazy person, there's nothing you can do about it. The person's gonna be lazy for life, it's gonna complain for life, it's gonna lag for life. Like it's gonna take a special baptism by immersion to wash that part of that person away to bring another new leaf. honestly speaking. So in this situation, staying and the reason why the guy said the reason why she was staying in the marriage was because of the kids.
You
So like,
know,
okay,
this kind of even down to the ultimate, which is somebody just dying, right? Even that, nobody thinks it's going to be them until it happens, right?
yes, I agree.
Right. So, um, a lot of people are in toxic relationships, but they're not really aware because they've shielded themselves in isolation, and and in even in a deliberate way, like because they don't want to find out the something that they might already be
NLP,
feeling like they know already.
honestly speaking, right? For some people, right, sometimes they know. Let me tell you from all the cycles I've been going on, I see people. So they just tell you that, so all this that you have suffered for, you come and live for somebody. Listen, you know what?
Right.
Just focus on yourself, ignore him, act like he doesn't exist. Just be doing your thing, he's doing his thing. But don't forget that you're living in the same house with that person and he's seeing you. Something is triggering something. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
So
even
no.
if
So
you're
let,
living
let's
and not
let's
sending yourself,
let's talk it out together, including Brother Patrick, right? If you're leaving with the person, right? You're leaving with the person. Like I agree with you all that if you could see the end of this story, obviously you should exit, right? But that's if you could see the end of it, right? So imagine the person that leaves with the person, right? The last thing on your mind is that would ever happen, right? Even when it's right in your face, even when you guys are waving hands in your own faces and you're in toxic arguments and you're clapping at each other, that kind of stuff, right? The last thing you expect to happen is what we're talking about today, right? So it's hard. I'm just acknowledging
I,
that
know-
it must have been hard.
I understand what you're saying. I
Yeah.
understand how hard it is.
Right.
But I feel like sometimes we are just oblivious. There's no how we can see the end of anything. Do you understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
But
Right.
Allah,
the truth that we have started seeing, we've seen a lot of stories that have not ended well. You don't have to wait for it. Hausa people have an adage that they say that if you see your friends beer catching fire, you rub water on your own.
Okay. All right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah,
That's
the
true.
way saying that
Because
exactly.
yours might already caught fire already. You
You
just
know
didn't
what I'm
notice.
saying? So you can't be in an apartment complex, apartment complex is catching fire, and then you say, you know what, it's on the other side, it has not reached my own, I will wait till it gets here. You start taking precaution. There's no way you can see the end of it. So I feel like to some extent, we as humans, we are lying to ourselves. God
Yeah.
forgive me.
Right. And,
Because
and
a
that's the
lot of,
point I was alluding to because
right,
I said death, right? Sometimes we even
a
lie
lot
to
of,
ourselves. Some of us want to go to
yeah,
heaven, but we don't want to die.
a lot of these cases don't end well, man. So lying to ourselves like, oh, you know what, my own is not as bad as our own. You always say the emotions no be
sorry,
your mate.
not to you just nail it on the head. Allah, hey, let me tell you, Allah, have you been called to go to court with somebody that's going through domestic something or that's going through divorce? Have you done that in America? I've been there as a community leader. And let me remind you of the Ghanaian pastor that fired the wife. That story was, last year, 2 years ago, maybe in Florida too. That had the
Okay.
church.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
that story.
I remember. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
you remember the video when the man, where the wife were dragging in and the brother to the wife intervened. And the man later came back.
Right.
So a violent man is always a violent man. And that's why
Case
they
closed.
give people restriction order in America. But no, they give you some that you don't want to go there. Some people, even with the restriction order or whatever, people still go ahead and buy the person they want to buy. We've had cases of people coming to a salon to come and buy their wife there because that's the way they can get them. So, money,
Igi gogoro má gún mi lójú.
Okay,
I remember that one.
Yeah, so Allah, when you are, this is not internet talk. When you see physical, when you experience it, you know, man. I went to call with somebody. Elders from the church came. This is even a white church, white people's church. And one of the elders from the other side was telling me, Patrick, and I agree, this 70-something-year-old person. And they were saying, this person, you have to be very careful with this person. And we have to be talking to the parties involved. Because the elders have been involved. Me, I came from Nigeria past, so I was involved too. Because a Nigerian marrying a white. So, you better run from such people. Some people will never change. Yes, some people will never change. They will never seek counsel. They are not there to make the relationship work. And it's going to affect the children. They are ready to buy somebody.
And now she refused to leave. She said because of the kids, and now she's not here. He's not here, and the kids are by themselves. Just to digress a little bit, right? I have like 4 family members that have died from breast cancer, and 3 of them. The reason why it ate them up to that stage was because somebody told them that you cannot do orthodox treatment for it. You have to do traditional. And they went to all these traditional routes that have not been proven successful.
Oh my God!
Till it got to stage 4.
So to my point earlier, right? To my point earlier, it's tricky.
I know it's tricky, but this is my point, and this has made me like a very strong advocate of breast cancer. If you don't have any proof, don't come and tell me shit, because having 4 or 5 family members gone through that, I don't need anybody to come and tell me. I don't need
me too. At least now, I don't have enough information because I don't have the experience. But at least now, I will always tell if I have to advise anybody, I will make sure that they at least collect multiple opinions from professionals that go by way of studies that has been done.
I single-handedly sponsor a lady's chemotherapy and surgery this year just because I remembered my aunt. It wasn't easy, but the moment I heard it, I'm like, you're not going to be a statistic. Is she doing well now? She's doing fine.
So let's move in the direction of I like your direction, by the way, so far, you and Brother Patrick. What are the signs, right? Because that's the where I'm driving in the direction, right? What are the signs? Because again, a person that's living with a husband, the last thing they are thinking of, they might normalize it. They can see things and they will normalize it. They will see things, they will justify it, right? They tend to do that, right? What are the, in your opinion, explicit signs? We'll go with Natu first, then we'll go to Brother Patrick, right? That people should not take for granted. They should find their levels as soon as they see it.
One of the signs is that the moment you start getting to the stage where maybe you probably know already that the person gets angry easily, but when it's becoming more obvious and more common, like they can't control themselves and they do a little stuff like maybe harm you or go extra mile to do some like stupid, crazy things that are not normal, and they come back to tell you, "Oh, I'm sorry because I was upset at that time." Run. Because
what did you just say about I'm sorry?
When they finish doing everything, cursing you out, hurting you, and they come back to say I'm sorry, run.
Okay.
Because these kind of people, the day that they have something near them that they can hurt you, they do it. By the way, I forget to, they said that this guy has been to the psychiatric in the last 1 year twice already.
He has.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So there's the mental situation. No, you know why I agree? For him to pie her and call the cops. He was the one that called the cops.
He called
and
the cops.
He waited for them. Yes.
I mean, I'm looking at this mug shot. This mug shot looks like somebody that has some deep trouble.
That's 1. 2, and he wasn't remorse. They said they did a live streaming of the court case. People that were close to them that watched, they said he
had no remorse. Yeah, because he probably felt like he had no reason to live.
Exactly. This is another thing that I have to say, right? You see this lack of remorsefulness? He didn't start exhibiting it today.
Well, so what does that look like before when you're married to that person and you're in the same house with that person?
So what it looks like is that you might be going through pain and the person will act like they're not even aware you're going through that. or the person might like hurt you and sit to watch you going through that pain without caring or without doing anything to change it. And
Okay.
then for the long while that you've known them, they've not been making any effort to change.
Okay. So would
So
this go with it? This is my sign number one here.
unusual hostility, be allowed if argument escalate into intense anger. You can't say anything more than that.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
just it.
Let me keep that away. What else should be, and any other signs you think of?
Um, people that have just this. I'm not gonna say just. I know, but I'm gonna add something to it. But this anger, hostility is like one of the major.
Right. People just don't wake up one day and start having
No,
crazy hostility.
no,
They've been showing
no.
signs of it.
They've been showing signs, and they've been showing signs. And another thing I have to add again is because you've been tolerating and accommodating them. So they have this idea that you are not going anywhere. And again, oh, I'm sorry. These are the kind of people that act like if I can't have you, nobody can have you. Let me
Right.
give you a quick backstory. I dated a guy that's from Katsina, and I used to hear that Katsina men are very possessive. This guy gave me everything I wanted. I don't spend my salary. Like my twin sister had my ATM card at that time. I worked in UBA. My twin sister has my ATM card. I don't spend my salary. Like this guy takes care of everything I need. When I mean from my hair to my clothing to my pocket money to my phone. The only thing left that this guy didn't get for me at that time was a car. And we're deliberating about the car. But let me tell you what happened. This guy is very possessive. If I would tell him now that, oh, I'm going to go and see Lola and Ola in New Jersey, or if he calls me and I say, oh, I'm in New Jersey with Ola and Lola, guess what? He's going to come in an hour's time and tell me, I'm outside. When you're done, I'll take you home. No joke.
Wow.
No joke. So the moment I start seeing these signs,
So would
I
you
started
call? Would
becoming
you?
scared.
Is that jealousy or what?
Yes, that's jealousy.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
possessiveness. They want to have you for themselves. And then again, he was married, but I didn't know because he told me he was never married, and I got to find out he was married, and he wouldn't let
He
me
was
break up
married.
with him. So
Yeah.
what I did at that time, like Brother Ben said told us today, I was withdrawing from him gradually, but I never told him. One of my aunties, my auntie that passed away from breast cancer, sneaked and told him that I was seeing someone, and it became an issue, right? And I calmed that situation down. But what I did to him was that I was leaving for America and I didn't tell him. So the only thing that was
Yeah.
that when I
I think you
left,
shared a little bit of that before.
yeah, when I left, our security guard said to him, "Oh, I didn't see you going to the airport with Madame." He was like, "What airport?" He was like, Auntie
Hey.
Susie left for America today. He started
Huh?
blowing my phone about the airport. I just switched off. When I came to Nigeria last month, that's very. I went to Abuja Wuse Market. I saw him. If you see the way I pull my veil and I do 360 here, I just disappeared. So
Yeah.
yes. So and then he started talking on Facebook. Started doing all this emotional blackmail. I don't believe you're
Of
gonna
course
do this
now.
to me after everything. But I was very adamant, and I just keep on blocking him. And that's all I was doing. I was just blocking. So like, but yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So extreme jealousy, overwhelming jealousy might indicate deeper insecurities that
Yes.
can manifest as
Yes.
controlling behavior.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
pause right there.
But sometimes he feels-
Before you
sorry.
continue, let me go to Brother Patrick. Brother Patrick, we have some things to share. Brother Patrick, sir, any other signs you can think of?
Yeah, Natu said almost what I wanted to say, but I'm just going to rephrase it another way. Number one, if that person has a consistent behavior that refuses to change, and you still hang out with him, you are an enabler.
Hey.
So whatever
voila.
happened to him, or whatever it does to you, you caused it. And when it comes to marriage, it's going to have a multiplier effect that's going to span on the children and the family. Like this guy's case, the children is going to affect them mentally, emotionally as well.
Right.
We are not even talking of today. It's going to have a very long impact on the family. Yes, I have somebody like that, one of my friends, that thing happened to. You know, when we were growing up, Ola, when Jomo, you know, parents used to beat kids then.
Mm-hmm.
When this boy father wants to deal with him, you dare not get to their door.
Hmm.
You know, by the time this guy comes out, you see all his eyes will be swollen with serious beating anger. That you say, what happened? You can't, you know, and he's not going to go to hospital. They're just going to use the hot water to press him and whatever. So, when the man dealt with it,
I'm sorry, but apparently they use water tap.
huh? Yeah.
It's the way you said they will use water tap press.
Yes, now, with Rob. So, when the man had issue with the mom has to leave. Ola, I couldn't believe it. Me and the guy went to see the mom. So as we were coming, just saw the man. The man was not asking the guy that the mother in his separator. Yes. Can you believe this man went to pie the mother? That same day, he didn't pie her, but one of the hand cut off. The man cut the woman to pieces. Ola, this is a serious matter. Up till now, I'm talking about something about more than 40 years ago. We didn't see the man. They said the man just went somewhere to, you know, pie himself. He can't even discover the body. So, you know, it's a deep cause on the family. So,
Yeah.
so like I summarize it, but when you allow it, you are an enabler.
If you so another way I always say that is that people don't change their behavior unless they're gravitating away from pain or towards pleasure or some type of relief, right? So the idea that you expect people to change their behavior when you are directly or indirectly rewarding it,
I mean, at least
it's insanity.
Seek for help.
Seek for help. Yes.
Yeah,
Seek for
especially
help.
when like this.
If you're confused, if you're not so sure, because it can be confusing if you're the one in it, right? Seek help. Seek help. You know. Ask
Mapi,
for what's-
another thing that I would say that if you have somebody that has like a maybe coming from a violent background, not even having a history like a partner, if you grow up in that kind of environment, now there's a high chance that you exhibit that.
Right.
The only situation where you can allow or you allow yourself to be this kind of person is when you have the person say by themselves, I went through this and I don't want to experience it. I don't want my family to experience this, and I'm working on it. I'm doing therapy. I'm doing the rest. And then you know that the person is taking a personal decision to work on that. But don't try to be a messiah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? I'm not like that. So I think being with me will change. No, it's not going to do that.
Yeah.
The person has to make a personal decision. Exactly. So I think women in a lot of situations, we try to be the messiah and it ends up biting us in the butt.
Yeah.
And like Patrick said, like a lot of times we are caught up in being enablers. Imagine somebody doing all this shit to you, gets a new car, lives in the house and doesn't pay rent, luxury home, have all your kids taken care of. Like, I'm not trying to blame her, but let's not give, you know what I'm saying? If you want all of that, go work for it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you, my husband came to this country, I think, 3-4 years ago. The level that he has put towards school and getting certifications has tripled what I have done before he got here. When I mean, like, every year, this man, like, has to have a certification.
Right. Because he's going
You understand what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, he tried doing Uber. He's like, I don't want to do this. So now that you don't want to do this, what do you want to do? So, like, I need to get all those papers that I need to get it straight. And he's doing that.
Right.
So, but when men are doing some kind of, like, stuff, and then we women keep giving them, like, oh, I just want to support my husband. I'm doing this for my kids. Like, sometimes it's not even worth it, man. Yeah. We have a situation of Frida that we saw now. She went and enabled that Mungo Park. And what happened? This guy sitting on the internet saying shit about her.
Right. Yeah.
Ola, let me throw this in.
Yes, sir.
You know, men's social skill affect as well. You know, and that might lead to being possessive. Some men that have not really dated fine girls or maybe had 2 years.
Now that goes back to that jealousy issue there.
Yeah, by the time they have one, say yes.
Bro, Patrick, let me shock you. They also said that she did a mommy makeover.
Ha! She don't go to
Yeah.
tighten stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He probably felt like he's lost control of her.
Exactly. And he might lose her too.
Yeah, they
So,
do,
you know-
they do vaginal rejuvenations these days, Abra Patrick.
Everything here. And when my friend said that,
I mean,
Yes.
man, I'm talking of men. That men that
no, but I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that her doing the makeover kind of like put her in a class that is higher than his. So I feel like it kind of like threatened him and made him more insecure.
Yes, now. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that, you know, when we came to this country, my wife wants to do nursing. I said, I don't have to. There's no competition or like that. All of us cannot be nurses. It doesn't matter. You can have money. How much does most nurses have? You know, I went back to school. I got my MBA. So all of us don't have to be nurses now, you know, and everything has to do with covetousness. You don't have to be running after your wife's money. She could be. This is America. Anybody can be. You know, I have said it. One of my friends is a tax preparer. He said they have one couple. The woman is making $750 a year, and the husband just making 75. They fight jointly. So it depends on the man too. No, you don't have to. Anybody can do whatever I want. Like I just gave you the example of that woman. Anybody can. Yes, anybody can be anybody in America. This is a capitalist country.
Yeah. So
MOP, you know, honestly, right? After reading that book, Stop Walking on Eggshells, I feel like there are a lot of like attribute that a lot of people have, partners have, spouses have, that a lot of people normalize it because of where we're coming from. Have you heard of something called the borderline disorder?
Explain that. Borderline disorder. What is it?
So the borderline is those people that are normal one day. Let me just say sweet and sour sauce.
Oh, it's like bipolar.
Yes, but I don't know if they're kind of like a little bit better than bipolar, but kind of like they're on the borderline. They'll be good 1 second, the next second they switch off and they just go off. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I when I'm looking at that guy, I don't know his whole story yet, but he wanna fall like, because 1 second you're gonna be sweet, the next second you just turn out to be like a monster. Like, bro, come on.
You know, as I always say, human beings have patterns, right?
Right.
People just don't wake up and behave a certain way. Okay.
Nope.
However, that does not necessarily translate to premeditated. You know, that does not always translate to that. We're talking about a person that's going through their own trouble in terms of, particularly from a mental health standpoint, right? So it's not always a situation where, especially if they're going to be calling 911 on themselves and stuff like that, it's hard for me to conclude to premeditation when it comes to that. I do believe that he had bad behaviors. I do believe that there were signs, you know, and we've mentioned a few of them. You've talked about the unusual hostility, right? You've talked about, Brad Patrick talked about history of violence, which is number 6 of 8. You talked about extreme jealousy. I want to add this ones to it, right? Sign number 2 of 8 signs that I came here with today. Isolation tendencies, right? This can show up as they just get angry every time there are other people around, or they get angry at your family, or even you yourself. You don't want anybody to know what's going on. It could come up in that form as well too. It's that bad, but you're not proud of it. So the last thing you want to do is to be talking to other people about it. These are some of the signs that, you know, watch for a partner's attempt to isolate you from friends and family, cutting off support systems. Did you want to add on to that, or I can move forward?
Yeah, I agree with what you said.
Okay. Number three, control and manipulation. Obviously, I talk about that here all the time. Recognize signs of excessive control or manipulation, as this can lead to more serious issues. These are mild ways that this behavior shows up. Like we've been saying, people just don't jump out of the skies and
And they
do something
explode.
terrible. They've been showing this type of behavior where they are very possessive in nature. Number four, threats and intimidation. If somebody's outrightly telling you what they will do, like don't play with that. You like don't say, oh
I'll
no,
fire
you will
you.
never
I'll
do it.
divorce you. I'll leave you.
Like no, let's not play with that. At the
And
very minimum.
this
Go ahead.
lies on both sides, you know that, right? Because
All
we spoke
sides.
about this on our TV shows today too.
Yes.
And I think somebody was talking about it. Said, let me talk to women, because sometimes, like, and I used to say it all the time. Like I used to belong to that WhatsApp going down until I went to God. But
Right. Yes, it's
no, but
true.
I'm serious. So, but
Yeah, it's on both
like,
sides. It's
sometimes,
on
like,
both sides.
yeah, sometimes we just say stuff even that we don't mean it. But I feel like it's kind of common with couples.
Right.
Once they have misunderstanding, they want to draw blood. Like everybody wants to say something to the other
Right.
person.
Your own
to,
pound
like,
of
see
flesh.
how bad they can get you. Like, bro,
Yeah.
you know, this is not a war
Yeah.
zone. Like, I'm not
in
your
that state of mind at that
enemy.
point in time, you
That's
should
the only
know
thing
that
that's important. Yeah.
yeah, something is bad. This one says
Yeah.
any form of threat or intimidation is a red flag that should not be ignored. Should not be ignored doesn't mean you exit your marriage, or
No.
it just means it needs to be addressed, because
Yes.
it needs to be addressed. Don't just push it under the rug. Like, no, if a person is saying things like that, they might need help. They might not know
Yeah.
what's going on with them, because again, remember mental health, right? So
Yeah.
we gotta be careful
And
with
this
that.
boils down to what you try to educate us every day about self-awareness. And this is another point where I'd like, especially Africans, they see getting therapy or seeing a psychiatrist as something like wrong with you. Like, if
Yeah,
you need help, seek help.
yeah,
Like, if you feel like you want to be at a no judgment zone and talk to somebody, get a therapist.
yeah. All right, so this next one is so simple, we overlook it, okay? But lack of communication.
Oh,
When
shush.
when you don't feel heard, when you don't feel seen, either when a man does not feel heard or seen, right? When you combine that with, for example, this one, history of violence, right? When you combine that with a couple of other signs
Volcano.
here, resentment is not anybody's mate to.
Nope.
Yeah, so when if he's saying something and then it seems like he's just suddenly quiet, he stops talking altogether. Those are some of the signs that we need to pay attention to. Frustrations will start creeping in, and like we always say, men are included in this also. We tend to say that just for women. We don't know what anybody's threshold is,
Nah.
and the damages might be too great to reverse. Unfortunately, that's
Right.
the story we're covering today.
The earlier, the better.
Yeah, so we already covered this, but Patrick covered this history of violence. Take heed if a partner has a history of aggressive behavior. Patterns are exactly what they are. Human beings have patterns, but it also has a tendency to trend upwards if you don't address them. So, seek help. Number 7, extreme jealousy. Overwhelming jealousy might indicate deeper insecurity. We already covered that. And last
Some of
but
this
not least,
jealousy is on another level. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you that if you find yourself in that situation, run. How can you tell somebody I'm going to Connecticut and New Jersey, and the next thing the person tells you
They
I'm
show up.
outside, when you're ready, I will take you home?
Yeah, my wife has a similar story. She has a similar story of somebody she dated before me. That person, she was here in Jersey, and that person we just be downstairs. I'm downstairs.
Yeah.
That person was
And let me
I
tell
think
you,
it was Maryland or something like that.
He provides stuff that he provides for me, not because sometimes he wants to, but sometimes because he wants to keep everybody away from me and show me that I can
It's
provide
because
this
of
for
number
you.
3. It's because of number 3. It's because
Yes.
of control and manipulation. It can
And let me tell
also
you,
be because of this.
he has a PhD in manipulation.
Yeah.
When I left America without telling him, the messages I got in Facebook, I can't believe he can do this. Da 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 da. Okay,
Yeah.
then he went back to where did we even start from? Look at you. Because you I'm like, yo, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on.
It's dangerous. Those are the mild version of what the unfortunate story we're covering today.
Right.
You know, that they are mild, but they can escalate easily. But Patrick, please feel free to interject me if you see anything you want to add on to. Sign number 8 of 8: unresolved conflicts. When there's conflict and they brush it under the rug, right? To you, it might even look like we've resolved that, right? Like that should be in the past. Ignoring and glossing over conflict rather than addressing them can lead to explosive situations. Remember,
Those resentment.
emotions no be our mate. I know
Nope.
from a logical, quote unquote, fake logical standpoint, no, just speak your mind. Just say what you have. Say what's on your mind. Why would you? But that's not how it works. It's something you need to pay attention to. That we're talking about emotions, the mind, right? And then we're talking about sometimes people's trauma from their past, long before you.
Right.
But the thing is that you have to take responsibility as well, because you're now in a marriage or relationship with them. You have to kind of take some level of responsibility in helping them, not take responsibility for their healing, but in being a safe environment for them to express, and also understand that you have the freedom. You can walk
Right.
away if it's that bad. You always have that
Right.
agency. You always have that autonomy to say, I don't think you can do this, and then also do that wisely. I think you guys mentioned that
Right.
heavily, right?
Also from a personal perspective, right? Talking about not that we're aiding, not that you're trying to heal the person,
Right.
but whatever you react on your own side might mar or build the relationship. So I think from a personal perspective, I when I was talking about my mouth, I realized that there are some troubles that my husband has had, that the
Right.
way I was reacting to some certain issues were not helping.
Right. Right.
So those same issues that I was reacting that certain way, I was blowing the whole house out. The same issue that we'll sit and talk about and we laugh about and be like, okay, I don't like it this way. I like it that way. So now I'm
Right.
asking myself, so why were we blowing out the house all the time?
Right.
It
Right.
was the tone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
because
the
there are
tone.
catalysts around us at the end of
Yes.
the day. Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah, yeah. All right, I'm gonna fly through these 10 things, and then I'll get to your last word and Gabriel Patrick's last word. I might just spark something off that you need to say, but I'm gonna fly through it. Lesson number 1: conflict resolution. Learning how to handle conflicts in a non-violent manner is crucial. Seeking, obviously, this person has committed now at this point in time, so it's too late for him. But it goes for all of us at the end of the day. Seeking help from therapists, counselors, and support groups can provide strategies. Number 2, anger management. Managing anger and emotions is essential. Developing healthy coping mechanisms, and seeking professional help is needed. If needed, can prevent situations from spiraling out of control. Lesson number 3: seeking help. Seek help. A lot of us Africans still assume that you can treat yourself mentally. That doesn't make any sense, right? So it doesn't matter how many books you've read, how many degrees you have in psychology. You can't see the forest from inside the forest. People on the outside can see it better. Lesson number 3: seeking help. If you and your partner are struggling with personal issues, seeking help, professional help, is important. Wise counsel. Lesson number 4 of 10: recognizing warning signs. We already covered some 8 signs already. Friends, family members, and even the individuals involved should be aware of warning signs of escalating tension. So even as a friend, family on the outside, you can help. Excuse me. Hold on. All right, lesson number 5: support systems. I think we've kind of mentioned this, but building and maintaining a strong support network can provide individuals with outlets of emotional expression and help during difficult times. We all go through difficult times. Majority of situations don't end up like this, but the one too many situations is why we're addressing this today. Lesson number 6: equity and autonomy. Relationships should be based on equality. I forgot to change that. It's actually equity, okay? Because what's equality to you might be different from the other person, but when you pay attention to how they see things, it becomes equity. It lands better. Equity and autonomy. Both partners should feel feelings. It doesn't mean you can count it by number of cements. They should feel like they have a say in decisions and control over their lives. They might just shoot and say, no, babe, just cover that. You got that. They might say that. That means they still feel like they're part of it, right? Lesson number 7 of 10, healthy role models and wise counsel, positive role models for healthy relationships, whether real or fictional. So books are beautiful. That's why I will keep writing books, okay? All right, you can see our new book cover is already up on the screen, so you can expect that anytime. Prevention, isolation, preventing isolation. We talked about this as a sign, right? Isolation can exacerbate issues within relationships. Maintaining connections with friends, family, and social activities outside relationship is helpful. You need that because to give you a sense of what's normal and what you shouldn't normalize. Okay, it's good examples to not compare yourself to, but to have a good gauge of I hope I'm not moving mad. Right? Lesson number 9 of 10, early intervention, just like cancer, as early as possible. If problems arise, addressing them early can prevent them from escalating into dangerous situations. Ignoring issues and hoping they will go away can lead to more of its likes. Okay, lesson 10 and 10 of 10 of 10. Breaking the cycle. If someone has a history of violence or witnessed it in their family, seeking therapy and counseling can help break the cycle. All right, we need to can help break the cycle and prevent such behavior from being perpetuated. Remember patterns, perpetuation, vicious cycle, right? It also goes up in that level. All right, sorry for the noise for the audience. I know somebody was noisy just now. I didn't pay attention to that. But yes, let me go to Brother Patrick first. Brother Patrick, let me get your last word. I'm sure I probably said something that you felt like you should expand on.
Hey, Ola, like I said the last time, some of us are enablers, or perhaps we have the same traits as our partner. So we've all dated before we got married. And now to just give an example, there are some people you would date that you say, this one will not work. You know what I mean? I can't marry, this one cannot work. I can't marry this person. So if you marry that person, that means you have that trait. You agree with him. So I'm going to give you, I believe in practical. I have somebody here, a family member. We are talking of somebody in the late 50s. So we are discussing a lady. So this lady now said, so much, he's going to cut some people from his phone. He's going to block some people. Hola, I didn't know I was part of the people she was going to block. She actually blocked me. She said, she too wants, you know what she said? She said she too wants to marry a man of God. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, if I didn't agree with him, he said, well, after some months, she's going to block some people. When I got blocked, I felt bad. I said, have I done anything wrong to this lady? Did I not cancel her well? Until later, I now found out that very close member of the family, she decided to block them.
This auntie has issues, so...
Yes, all the children, she makes sure the children doesn't contact anybody, communicate with anybody. Ola, could you believe this lady went ahead and married a supposed man of God in Nigeria? They actually did a wedding. If you can marry somebody that calls himself a Christian at that age, and none of your family know about it, there's an issue.
Yes, an issue, yeah. I'm always against eloping for marriage. I'm always against that.
This lady don't talk to anybody for more than 5 years. No member of her family that she talked to. She literally blocked everybody. She went ahead and got married to this man, and they were, I like, what kind of life is this? And the children are grown up, they were aware. they signed their mom and were like, what? Are you kidding me? So, Nigeria is so small that people will know, when we begin to hear stories, we are like, oh my God. Oh.
Yeah.
And this is a woman that's already made it in America, sold her property, went there. So I just say, well, she's an adult. I'm not going to say anything. I just say, okay. So that's why I'm bringing.
Yeah, so listen, it happens from time to time. It's happened to me before, but I'm also very good at giving people their space. I'm also very good at assuming best case scenario. Best case scenario from my side is that they're going through something and they probably need my support in that way, like just to give them some space. Worst case scenario is that I'm offended. Like, why would you block me? What did I do to you? Right? That's the worst case scenario. Yeah. But I can do that forever. It comes from a place of I know better, but I can do that. I just give people their space.
I was offended initially, but later now found out that people, they were older than me. She blocked everybody. That's good for her.
It's about them. You see, that's another thing. It's about them more so than it's about you.
So I just thank God. But I know, because we've been to hear background story now. Even children are regretting what their mother did. They are not happy. They are not moving forward. So the woman is an enabler. She has the same character whoever she wants to marry.
Yes.
Yes.
And oftentimes that's the case. And it crosses the lines where some people might say you are victim shaming, but they go, they're all right. The truth is that there's more to this story than pointing fingers in any of these stories.
It's not victim shaming. We are just analyzing it, and we see that these people are enablers too. So,
Yes, because people won't continue a behavior unless it's being rewarded somehow. It doesn't have to be you rewarding it, but they are being rewarded somehow, some way. That's why they continue the behavior.
Yes, you are compromising. You are going along with it. You are not that you can think you can get out of it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
No problem.
I appreciate you, sir. Anytime, you're welcome up here. Anytime, sir.
Yes, sir. God
all right,
bless
sir.
You, my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not to
Area.
Tell me, what's on your mind?
Oh my God, a lot, man. It's a lot. Just what I'm gonna say, right? Like Brother Patrick has said, in a lot of situations we find ourselves to be enablers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So first thing first, check yourself. That's number one. Number two, anything that is wrong, honestly speaking.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
wrong.
saying? Yeah, if you have, there is no way, even in the aeroplane, if they are giving you safety precaution, they will tell you how to save yourself first.
Yes.
Before you save someone else, right? And then if anything happened, in case of emergency, just come out by yourself and leave everything behind.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So you have to be alert to be able to go and look for maybe your phone was inside the fire, your passport, your bag. But if you stay trying to drag your bag and your passport and your phone, maybe all of them will catch fire.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So safety precaution is always the first thing, honestly speaking. This is not encouraging people to leave their marriages, honestly speaking, but giving space sometimes to make some adjustments is okay. If your house is leaking and it's rainy season, you have to leave the house to be able to fix the house so that you can live well in it.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So we just have to take precautions, honestly speaking. We don't want to be sharing bad stories every day. We want to be carriers of good news too.
Right.
And there's no pleasure in sharing this bad news, but sometimes we have to share it for the lessons.
Right.
But then if we're sharing the lessons every day and people are not passing the exam, then our lesson is not lessening. You know what I'm saying?
People are picking them up. They're picking them up.
Listen, I've told you a lot. If anybody tells you they not learn from your show, I personally I have.
Yeah.
And I always say I have to give you credit for that. Because everything self-awareness, emotional intelligence, I picked it up from this show and to this show.
Yeah. That's
honestly speaking. So that's why I say you cannot afford not to be self-aware. You can't afford it. Honestly speaking. In this 2023, Nah, you cannot. Don't let
Yep.
anybody do the things of our parents. Oh, you have to stay for the children. No.
The
Are the children
dangers
going
are
to stay for
the
you?
dangers are too huge. They're too.
They are too huge.
Mm-hmm.
Are the children going to stay for you? Now you're not here, he's not here. Nobody's going to help the children. So what's
Mm-hmm.
the gain? There's
Yeah.
no gain in it.
Yeah.
So we need to do better. Honestly speaking, you can't change people.
Mm.
People have histories. If people open their mouth and say, I want to make changes, that's fine. But don't be a messiah because you're not.
Yeah, you have to save yourself first. The same thing I tell this man when once they've gone through problems, they want to jump out to the internet and help more people so they don't go to. I said, you're not. It's too early. You need to save yourself first. If you haven't
Yep.
taken the time to save yourself, your mental
There's
state,
no how.
you can't save anybody else. You don't know what you're looking at. You know what you feel. You know what you've gone through. It's all valid. But in terms of how it translates to everybody else, you have no idea. You need to assess
Yeah.
those things first. And maybe a small pushback against what you said earlier, right? Which is plan your exit.
Yeah.
The plan part may be closer to what I'm about to say, right?
Okay.
Anytime we see problems, we need to assess it first
Yep.
before we jump into a solution, right? I remember now because it correlates to what I'm saying. We need to assess it first. So this is even in the professional world, right? How much more in a situation where it's purely driven by emotions, right? We need to assess the situation. If it's a situation where the person demonstrates that there can be potential physical harm to you, no, you're not assessing. You need to leave first. I'm not saying until they've done it first. So when it feels like you're not sure if this is going to lead down this route, if it's that confusing, you need to leave first. And especially, gentlemen, that goes for you because you're the one that will sit down there. You don't really feel any kind of fear because you're a man, right? But what about the reverse? What about if you're provoked? What if you black out, right? You want to come back to the internet and they're telling you it was premeditated and it was a blackout. A lot of these people black out, but why do you want to wait until then? If you look at a situation that seems like you're not able to de-escalate, just because you can't de-escalate doesn't make you not a man. Some things you can de-escalate. Some things you're not, they say prophet is not honorable in his own town, right? Just because you're in the middle of that relationship and you're like a culprit, she's not listening to you. She doesn't have respect for you anymore. So don't try to command respect or anything like that. Leave before you become before you become this kind of situation, right?
Right.
So because after you become this kind of situation, there's no mercy. It's over. It's
And
a
people
wrap.
need to stop being oblivious, thinking, "Oh, this can't happen to me." God forbid. No
It can happen
fit.
to anyone. Can
Stop it.
happen. And I think to that point that it has to be premeditated. When we say it has to be premeditated, it's a way for us to alleviate ourselves from it can happen to
Yes.
anybody. It's a way to say we are holier. No, you're not holier. If you keep staying in the position where you're being provoked, you might black out. You might throw something across the room that will hurt somebody and you didn't mean to throw it at them.
Earlier on a TV show, I said I was talking about one of my colleagues that I know that had a license to carry the bomb, and she refused to get one because both she and her ex-boyfriend had temper.
Yeah.
It's just like I know myself. If I get upset, I can do anything. So I don't want to have that in my house. That's being
Yeah,
self-aware.
some people say I know myself, I will never be that upset. That's not true.
No, she didn't say she's not gonna be that. She just said she
No,
doesn't
I
want
know.
everyone in the house.
I heard you. I'm saying some people will say the opposite of it. Right? They say, I know myself, it can never be me. They might say it directly, indirectly, like, no. The best for any one of this stuff we're talking about, right? It's about positioning yourself to win. Don't assume that you're capable of winning. You need to position yourself. Remember, there are catalysts, there are systems, right? That control your social systems, whatever, that controls how we behave. If you don't understand that, you might be building a massive blind spot for yourself,
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
those.
thank you so much. I appreciate you. You're
Have
welcome.
a good
welcome
night. Say
anytime.
hi to my sister.
All right. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
All right.
All right. Let's end this on a good note. Fab Stolly, hello, says consider this as a deal breaker. Time to leave. When you realize that in an emergency that person may not save you, it's intuitive. Just don't play with this. Don't play with this. If you're like, I'm not sure they can't. No, at that point in time, it's already too late. You should go and find help. It doesn't have to be a permanent decision, but at least for that moment, you're safe. You're in good hands. Don't be there waving in their face and all this kind of stuff. Don't do any of that. That's not to say she did that. I'm just saying. But we shared 8 signs today. So I'm sure those 8 signs will, maybe 1 or 2 you can adjust, maybe 2 or 3 you can adjust. You realize that there's more to it. There's always more to the stories. We don't know what happened in that situation. So our condolences go to that family. But that could be anybody. This is not a situation where say it can never be me. No. That could be anybody. The only way, the closest thing to that this situation not being you is if you understand emotions. You understand that emotions no be your mate. If you understand that you need to position yourself in an environment where they stimulate you to be your best self, right? That's all you need to be doing. If I don't care about marriage. Throw marriage to the side for a second. You as an individual, you need to be around people that stimulate you to continue to be the best. People that continue to encourage you directly or indirectly. Just by them being around you, you just naturally want to be your best. So even on your lazy days, you feel like you want to be your best just because you're around these types of people. If they're a husband, good. But it's not about that. If they're a husband and they are working in the opposite direction, as in like you feel like there's this active urge, active things that make you feel like, why is he jealous of you? If you're feeling like, why is he jealous of you? It's time to address that, right? I'll never be here and tell you that, no, it's not jealousy. No, I will probably ask you more questions, right? But a lot of people are jealous of you. They don't even realize they're jealous of you because it's coming from a much deeper place than quote unquote intentions, right? It doesn't mean it's not as harmful, but you need to understand that it can be coming from a weak place. It might be coming from a place where they need help. Because oftentimes you're married to this person. It's not as simple. It's easier said than done for anyone to tell you to just run, right? So even if you leave, it might be temporary. You might have to deal with this person. There was that guy, there's a story, it was like less than a year ago, who literally went into the ex's apartment and took everything out, including the persons. They were not together either. So just leave. It's not necessarily an absolute solution, right? But it's a first step. But there's more to it. You need to assess the situation, you need to seek therapy, you need to make sure you're safe, right? There's a lot more there, but bottom line here is that where you are today, if you find that you're confused about this, please seek help. The only thing we can do is work with today. Where are you today? Is this a situation that you feel like you're in the situation? Pick up that call, send an email, send a text message, and say, hey, I want to share something with you. I want to know your take on this. Make sure they are wise counsel.